Hello, and welcome to a special edition of Up Close on METV. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, station manager for Manatee Educational Television, and we're very proud to have with us today Chris O'Hara from the Manatee County Public Library. Chris, thank you again for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Charles.
It's always a pleasure to see you. You know, we've done several programs with you in the library, and it's always great to see the great things that the library is doing each and every day.
Thanks very much, and thanks for having me on here. You know, we've had several partnerships with METV, and we're happy to keep it going.
Well, one of the things that we want to talk to you today, and talked about some of the great programs that you're doing, but we want to talk to you today about this early literacy kits, and we have some examples here today. But before we get into the specifics, tell us a little bit about the literacy situation here in Manatee County and why it's important for the library to reach out to the community.
Well, the literacy situation in Manatee County is not where we'd like it to be. And when I say we, I mean all the citizens of the county, but especially, obviously, the parents and the school system themselves. For the past 2 years, the FCAT testing in the schools has indicated that third graders aren't about half of them, I believe, in 2014 it was 49%, and in 2015, 51% were reading up to grade level, but of course, you know, the other half were not reading up to grade level at that age. So at the library, we've sort of been thinking about it over the years and what we can do to help both the parents and the teachers to get the kids up to reading level. They use third grade sort of as a marker because that's the age at which most children are felt to transition from reading to learn to read into reading to actually learn and learn other things and develop in their other subjects. So we really wanted to help. So when I first came to Manatee County, three of my colleagues, three of our other librarians, Julie Farmer, Inez Tamanaha, and Chris Culp, they were working on literacy kits with an idea they got from the Marion County Library System. So they showed me some of those kits, and we were talking about how we could develop them. And one idea we had right away was there's several other library systems that have similar kinds of kits, but we wanted to be able to circulate them throughout the county. Allow people to check them out just the same way they would check out books for their kids. But what takes it a step further with the kits, or how we take it a step further with the kits, is besides having books in them, they also have other materials that allow a child to actually explore what they've read, share it with their parent or their teacher, allow conversation between the child and the parent and whatever adult that they're reading with. And this allows development of what we call the 6 early literacy skills that were actually endorsed by the American Library Association.
Well, one of the things, and you know, these kits are so unique and they're so important to a family, you know, to encourage kids to learn, but they're full of materials that kind of augment and enhance the joy of reading.
Sure, exactly, because, I mean, reading is supposed to be a joy of exploration. I remember that from my own childhood.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, the games I would play and, you know, the things I would play with my friends and the conversations I would have with my parents and my friends and my brother, they were all often inspired by things you'd read and taken out of the library. It was the first place you learned about a lot of things. And what we do here with these kits is we have them each by a subject and an age group, and children are introduced to different things, and then they can kind of, like you said, explore other ways of learning, like these things,
And
or
it's such
discussing
an
what they've
important
learned.
thing, and we could just take a moment. And the great thing about the early learning kits is that they're all age appropriate. We have one back up here, which is ages 6 through 7. This is for ages 1 through 2, and then you have different age groups. And within each one, if we could do the age 1 through 2, this is a wonderful combination of materials, learning materials, for a family and for children to enjoy. So I just want to hold up a couple of these, if I may. There's some soft books. Here's the one that says Bath Time, and which is wonderful for children ages. They can actually hold it. It's kind of a tactile type of thing.
Exactly, tactile, that's important.
Bright colors and everything. So somebody's really, can be excited about reading this to a child and helping them explore, to discover that joy of reading.
Sure, and the child themselves can actually pick up the book and look at it. Like you said, this is a soft book, and these are board books. This board book actually even has a little puppet sort of in the middle of it.
I think that's
and
fantastic.
This is for age group 1 to 2, and a big part of learning to read, even at that age group, is literally almost playing with the book, allowing the child to pick up the book, to look at the words and see the way they form on the page, to see how they relate to the illustrations in the book, and things like that.
Which is a key part of it, that kind of reinforcement, which is so important for young children to discover with their parents, that reading is so important. It's such a big part of their development.
They can't really be too young either. We actually, this kit in particular that we have out in front of us is for age 1 to 2, but we actually even start the kits at age 0 to 1.
Well, that's great.
Because
and those are part of these little things too, where you can identify this is a fish. And I must show everybody this, because this all comes in a kit that you can go to your library and say, I have a child that's 0 to 1 or 1 to 2, and I want to get an early learning kit, to take it home. And they're just filled with the little, things that are very soft to the touch.
Noises,
they make noises,
like
but this is a starfish. It kind of reinforces the vocabulary as well.
Exactly.
And a cute
Absolutely.
little seahorse and things like that. And for a family to be able to have this material at their fingertips, to be able to sit down with their child at bedtime or at a reading time, a designated reading time, and to say, okay, now is a really wonderful time for us to read a book.
Sure, and what you were saying too, it's great for a family to have all these resources at their fingertips, and even a family that's not in a lower economic strata, and one that certainly is, it's tough to afford all these items. It's tough to afford. I read an article recently that stated that every child should have up to 100 books in their own personal library at home. But I mean, the cost of that could be absolutely prohibitive to some people. And that's why we have the library, of course.
Exactly.
Everything at the library is already paid for, and it's there waiting for people in the community to come out and enjoy. So it's a definite resource for parents, but sometimes in this day and age, people don't even remember that we're there, that the library's there, and that we have all these things just waiting for parents and teachers also, if they like to take them out, to just use.
So, I mean, I could see like a family or a teacher or a grandparent perhaps, saying, listen, this is a wonderful tool, to share with, a child, to introduce them, to that reading. And the wonderful thing about this, Chris, is you've designed these kits and with your colleagues, is that they all encourage, reading with a variety of different things. Now, this one behind us is wonderful because it's the early learning kit for ages 6 through 7, but it's all about dinosaurs, and kids love dinosaurs.
Exactly.
You've got books, you've got a variety of different books, you've got a puzzle, you've got a variety of different dinosaurs, so kids can actually read the book, hold something, and kind of reinforce the lesson.
Exactly, and some of them even have other interactive things like card games, and for instance on the subject, like you were saying, this one's about dinosaurs, just like the one we have for the younger children is about water. So we have them on a variety of different subjects. So on that subject, like I said, they might have a game in them, they might have a puzzle in them that they can do by themselves or with a family member. Just again, reinforcing and discussing what they're reading. Because a big part of literacy isn't just about reading printed words, it's about your ability to communicate. It all goes hand in hand.
And I think, as you mentioned at the very beginning, ages 1 to 3 is so critical, for to develop the reading skills, because that is when you're learning to read. And after that, after third grade, it's you're reading to learn. And if you're not up to that ability, you can continuously fall behind.
Sure you could. And a big thing is, I have talked to some teachers who say when kids get to VPK or get to kindergarten, they're already behind. And people would say, oh, well, do you even start reading before then? Well, not necessarily reading up to, a level where you can read a whole book on your own or anything like that. But if a child starts being read to and starts just being exposed to books and exposed even also to discussing things like what they're playing and like what they're reading with a parent or a grandparent or whoever it may be, that really helps them develop and move. So when they get to school, they're already ready. They're already primed, exactly.
Exactly.
So they don't start out behind. Because if you've got, say, going from age kindergarten to third grade, through third grade, it's almost like you're running a race there. Are we going to get them on time up to grade level? And I mean, starting when they're even infants, just showing them a board book, letting them, if we were to have one like this, which we do, age 0 to 1, and they read the book here, and then they explored some of the sea creatures and stuff like that. They're still getting something out of it. That doesn't mean, at age 2, they're suddenly going to be proficient in reading.
But it's that love of learning, and it's that love of exploration. And I think that's why these early learning kits, which are available at all the different libraries, is that correct?
They are available. Right now we have them based at our Central Library location and our South Manatee location, which is over on 26th Street near Bayshore Elementary. But you can get them at any location. So in other words, if you were to go into our location on the island, or the one we call our Rocky Bluff location, which is out in Ellington, or any of our 6 library branches, you can just ask, and they'll have one sent over. Usually only takes a day or two to get over there.
For example, if they said, well, I have a child, he's 6 to 7, he's really interested in, in water or dinosaurs or whatever, and they can say, well, we have these wide variety of kits. We can have one, here for you to pick up in a day.
It's the same way, adults go and place holds on books for themselves and say, there's a book at another library in our system, we want to have it over here. And the great thing about our county library system is anything you take out from any of the locations can be returned to any other location. So, if you get one from the Central Library, you don't have to worry about returning it there if you live closest to the one in Palmetto,
And I think that's a wonderful thing, because the libraries are available in all the different areas of the county, and they're readily available. And the staff wants you to use the library. They're going to make whatever the process or get that book or get that kit available.
Sure, we're happy to help. I mean, that's what we're there for.
Well, and that's a really interesting point, because, one of the things that, everybody notices about the library is that, is those efforts that are made to help people, with literacy. The library hosts a wide variety of different outreach programs. As the youth coordinator, you are responsible for developing a lot of great programs that really encourage people to enjoy the libraries. You've been responsible for the Recycle Fashion Show, which is a wonderful thing for kids to get involved, for teens. Manatee is another great activity that the library sponsors, to encourage people. Manatee this year was another great success. You have activities and things for children of all ages.
Sure, that was created by our adult services librarian, Erica Dow. She's the head of adult services, information services, we call it now, over at Central Library. And the idea behind that was just to get kids, mostly teens, though we do young children's activities at Manatee as well, just to encourage them to want to come to the library and see the library is about all kinds of reading, even comics, even Japanese manga, all those kinds of things. So we have those books available.
Tremendous success. And that's why I see that the early learning kits are really part of this whole strategy that the library has, to develop programs and services that serve everyone.
Sure, absolutely. We want to, we have such a diverse population of ages here in Florida because
Exactly.
we have so many retirees, but we still also have young families here in Manatee County that are looking for different materials and resources, and we have resources for all kinds of people. And also, you know, we take suggestions. I mean, if people have suggestions of something that we want to hear their feedback. One thing I'm hoping, for instance, with these kits is that not only do they help children who are enrolled in the public or private schools, but also homeschoolers.
Exactly.
You know, because they look to for resources here at the library, and there are a significant population of them here in Manatee County. So we want everyone to know that we have not only materials and resources, but as you said, programs. We have our Recycled Fashion Show, which is coming up on April 16th.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. Kids can, I believe we're going to start sign up in February for that online.
Excellent.
And we've had it 2 years in a row, and it's
And I got
been
to tell you, that's a
spectacular
wonderful
success.
career. Hats off to you and the staff at the library for hosting it. You have a large crowd, a great turnout. Kids of all ages come to participate, and it shows not only the creativity but the effort that these young people put in, you know, to help in designing and actually making a fashion.
Yeah, and it's for specifically for teens age 13 to 19. As long as your age ends in teen, you're welcome. You're welcome to join. But we would, of course, encourage younger children to check it out and you know, consider when they turn 13 joining up with it. As a matter of fact, 2 years ago, a 13-year-old won the whole thing, and I think last year the young lady was 14. So we do have some of the youngest
You really do.
kids winning it, you know.
Well, another impact that the library makes is the variety of books that you have available there. You have, if nobody was interested in the early learning kit and they wanted just to take some books home for their child to read, the children's section of the library is pretty extensive. Now that the central library has undergone its renovation, it's much more open, it's more welcoming. There's a wider variety of spaces available
Sure.
to do
We get a
things.
lot of compliments now on the renovation and the way
Absolutely.
the second floor of the central library is very open and welcoming. We hope that people find all of our branches the same way, especially in the children's department, being that, you know, youth services is my my game. But yeah, people really enjoy coming there. We want to have a welcoming atmosphere, and we want them to know, like you said, we have a wide variety of books. Just like we were saying, we have, you know, kits now for all ages. We of course have books starting for the very youngest children, board
Right.
books and things like that. Huge numbers of picture books in all our different
Exactly.
library locations. And then as they move up to their early readers and then the chapter books, we have those as well, and the young adult books. And just like with the kits and with the adult materials, you can go to any library and place a hold and have the kits, or I'm sorry, have the books sent to you at another library.
And I think that's a wonderful thing too, is that the library is always there, you know, to kind of fulfill those requirements that a family may have. And I think that's a wonderful thing. And I would encourage people, if you haven't been to your library, the central library, or many of the libraries, you know, throughout the county, take your child and go to the library and see the wide variety of materials that are available there for you. Let them pick out a few books, because those are a great opportunity for kids to see something that they may be interested in, to pick out a book.
Sure, as much as seeing, because we'll have during the day a lot of parents coming to pick out books for their kids, as much as we love seeing that, we also love just seeing the children come in and just go anywhere and explore. You know, pick out any book that you like.
And I think that's a wonderful thing. I remember when I first got my library card many years ago, it was a really exciting time, you know, to be able to go and pick up this book and go down another, you know, stack and see another book and thing. It was an exciting time, and encouraged, you know, me and my brother and my, you know, family, you know, to pick books and you couldn't wait to get home to read them.
Yeah.
So.
And one difference I always like to point out, I mean, adults, you know, come to read either for entertainment or for information. No matter what kids are reading for, one or the other like that, they're reading also just to fuel their imagination.
Yeah.
I mean, I know, you know, and imagination's a very active thing when you're young. You know, it's almost like you feel like you're learning everything for the first time.
And that's an exciting part of it. And that, I think, is some of the excitement that you put into these early learning kits. And I want to take a moment, if I can, to say, when you're putting together a kit, when you're sitting down with your staff and your colleagues and saying, well, we want to do this kit for this age group
Sure.
with these type of things, do you say, well, we want to include 2 of these and 1 of those and a couple of, how do you come up with this wide variety, this really extensive type of collection that goes into each kit?
Well, there's a lot of great materials out there. So, you know, we can look on different internet sites and different booksellers and things like that and find a lot of these great things out there. And sometimes, you know, I mean, we have a lot of fun with it because it's actually fun to purchase all these things and think about, you know, oh, wow, kids are going to love this, or this is great, or, you know, even I wish they had this when I was a kid. Yeah, you know. And so we'll put the things together, we'll purchase them all, and we just try to come up with a theme. Something we think kids would be interested in, like something like dinosaurs is a no-brainer because, you know, half the kids who come in ask for a dinosaur book or something like that. So things kids would really like to explore. So we don't, it's not really, once you start doing it, it's much easier than you think to come up with ideas for things that kids will be interested in because there's so many things out there. But as I said, you think, kids haven't necessarily, you know, not every kid can be introduced to every single thing.
Right.
So this is kind of putting together a little box that they can explore on a different subject that maybe, you know, they don't know that much about in the past. You know, really open up their horizons.
And the innovative thinking, Chris, of putting these kits together is exceptional because, you know, it encompasses, you know, not only the book where, you know, it kind of reinforces the reading from the very simple books, but, you know, something a little bit more complex. But it's so innovative in the way that you combine, you know, maybe a puzzle or some toys with a plush, with a, you know, some animal type of things. Where it combines into the total effort is to reinforce that love of reading.
Sure, that's exactly what it's about in the end. The love of reading, and sometimes I like to think of it as even the habit of reading. You know, reading is like a habit. You know, as long as you have that habit, you're always going to go back to it eventually. You know, you're going to think of the library when you want to know about something, be it that you're in the 3rd grade or, you know, that you're 50 years old. You know, it's just going to be a habit of you of going to the library and picking out books, either for a need or just for an entertainment. And it is habit forming, and hopefully then, you know, the children who are doing that now and developing that habit will pass that along then to their own kids.
Very much so. And you know, like you were saying about, you know, having a book in a home, a combination of books, if you're going to go out, can be relatively expensive.
Sure.
But each one of these kits contains so much that a family can be really pleased with taking this home, setting it down with their child, and letting them explore. How many kits are available, roughly?
Right now we have about 30 kits, close to 30,
wonderful.
25 to 30. We're always trying to get new ones. We've been well funded before by our own library foundation.
Wonderful.
And then more recently, the Kiwanis Club of Manatee.
Excellent.
They bought the kits for the older children because originally we only went up to age 6. Now we're going up to about 3rd grade, to where that grade level's at for around age 9. So we've been very lucky about that, about getting funding, and there have been people who have said, you know, they'd like to donate kits and things like that. And
that's excellent. So, you know, you would welcome that opportunity for other organizations perhaps to get involved
if they're interested,
and to develop kits, because, you know, there's the campaign for grade level reading, which is a major effort that's going on.
And now the school is collaborating with them.
And the school's collaborating on it. But one of the key things about here is that these are available, and then I can only imagine that families, parents, are so appreciative of these type of kits that, you know, they can take home, pick up for free from the library, take home for their children. So what kind of feedback are you getting from your families?
We're getting great feedback from them. You know, everyone who takes them out thinks that they're a great resource, and they love, you know, having their children play with them and explore the kits and discuss it with them. It's so funny to always hear parents come back and say how much they learned, because parents always say that about kids' books and about helping their kids with homework and things, that they're learning so much themselves, or at least remembering things from when they were a kid. So we've been getting excellent feedback from it, and we're also very grateful because a lot of parents are learning about the kits through the schools. We've partnered a lot with the schools and with Dr. Sheila Halpin, who's
Dr. Halpin?
Dr. Halpin's now the school. She's heading up their campaign for grade level reading initiative there at the schools, and she's always been great about promoting the kits to people, in the school system, actually taking them to parents' nights and things like that, and showing them what we have. So it's just been. We've had great feedback, and we've also had so many people in the community support us in this. Like I said, through
Very
either
exciting.
Donations or promotions, even METV.
Well, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. But one of the things that, because we're kind of winding down a little bit, Chris, and I want to emphasize a couple of things. So if somebody's watching, and I'm sure people are going to look at this and say, I had no idea, that these were available at the library. If they want to find out more, how can they do that? Go to the website?
Sure, they can go to our website, which is mymanatee.org. I believe you guys
put that
it
up on the screen.
Yeah, /library. Or they can email or call me, or they can stop by any of their libraries and asking about them. Yeah, especially to the youth services librarians, because every single library has a youth services librarian, and they all know about the kits. And like I said, they can request one in at that library, and the librarian there will be happy to help them select one and
I can imagine too that, let's say a family takes home this one, which is about water, and they take it home, and it's so very exciting, and their child is very responsive to it. So what ends up, they'll bring this back, they'll box it all up and take it back to the library, and they'll say, I want to get this kit next, or kit number 3 or 4, or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
So there's such a wide variety of things that are available as their child continues to be excited and the learning is enhanced. They're going from kit to kit to kit,
That's right.
and they're celebrating the whole experience.
And as they're getting older, also they're going from kid to kid to kid, because we have them, like I said, for 0 all the way up through age 9. And, the ages are recommended also. So they decide their child, I think that he could handle, the 8-year-old kid, even though he's only 7. Give it a try, see what oftentimes children's literacy develops very well when they find something they're interested in and they read about it. Even if it seems a little bit tougher, they'll be motivated to read it.
And that's an excellent point. And I can also say, let's say a child 6 to 7, they have this wonderful dinosaur kit, that may prompt them or their parents to say, hey, listen, we want to get him a dinosaur book. What dinosaur books that you have that he can take home and start reading?
Oh, yeah, and some of these kids, they'll read something like dinosaur books and start coming in with the names of dinosaurs on their lips that, you or I would have trouble pronouncing, and they
I'm
nail
sure
it.
that's a fact. But I have to tell you, Chris, this is a wonderful initiative. You've really brought a lot to the library. The excitement and innovation of reaching out not only to the variety of age levels here, but preteens and teens by developing programs, resources within the library that encourage people not only to use the library, but to use their imagination and excitement, to develop their learning skills.
Well, thank you. It's a team-wide effort. We have an outstanding youth services team. We have great youth services librarians and great librarians in general at the Central Library and at all the libraries. So it's been easy.
Well, final comment for Chris. What do you want people to know about the importance of these kits and why families should come to the library and see what's available there?
Well, they're helping to build sort of a foundation of literacy, you could say, for each child. And by building that foundation, then they just keep adding onto it and adding onto it. And by the time they're in high school or college or an adult out in the world, they'll just have an excellent foundation for learning. That started when they were young. So the earlier you start, the better, and that's what we're hoping that these kids help with.
Well, Chris, again, hats off to you for developing these great early literacy kits. They're just wonderful. They're packed with excitement. They're packed with things that children will enjoy. Whether you're 0 to 1 or 1 to 2 or 6 to 7, these are just a wide variety of things. It really enhances, it augments that thrill of reading. And for accomplishing this, it's a really wonderful thing that kind of corresponds with this effort now for Campaign for Grade Level Reading.
Well, thank you very much, Charles.
All right.
We're very happy with the way it's going.
And we're going to put the number up on the screen again,
Okay,
and your
great.
information.
Great.
So we would encourage people, families, just go down and check it out, and they might want to say, do you have this or that? And you'll be able to help them at any of the branches.
Sure, and if they want to shoot me an email or give me a call and make a suggestion,
Right.
or they have a question about them, feel free. I mean, that's what we're there for.
Chris, thank you again for
Thank you,
joining
Charles.
us. Great information, and these are just wonderful kits to do. And we would encourage all the families out there watching to go to your public library and find out more about the early literacy kits that are available, for very young children or up to the ages of, what ages do we go to, Chris?
Through age 9.
Through age 9. So there are wonderful kits that are available out there that encourage your child to read and learn. Thank you for joining us, and thank Chris O'Hara for all his hard work.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time on Up Close on METV.